Hi, it's Josh Turner. Today we're going to take a look at how to play my arrangement of Parlez-Moi d'amour, but we're also going to take a look at the why and the how of my arrangement process on this tune. In the first half of the video, I'll play through the song at full speed and then at half speed, just so you can see it clearly in front of the camera. And then I will break it down with as few words and as little playing as possible. In the second part of the video, I'll dig into some of my inspirations for this arrangement, why I made some of the choices I did, and what I think makes this successful. Let's check it out. So yeah, the tricky part here is keeping these two voices happening simultaneously and letting them try and both ring out. And the only way to do that is just to combine them really, really slowly. Once you've got that section, you've really got the trickiest part of the tune. That is by far the hardest part to master. The verses progress relatively easily by comparison. The first verse starts with this little figure. So this is a G major. We're making a triad here and then thumbing the bass, which then enables us to move to a D major triad, first inversion, and thumb the bass. And then just open G, back to the D. Using this finger picking pattern a lot. This is an A minor chord, but with a ninth in it, or a second in the middle. This is an E7 over G sharp, and we've got some nice common tones here. So your pinky stays in the same place. Then we go up to an A minor. An A minor again. Yeah, and that's pretty much everything that needs to be slowed down, I think. That's pretty much it. These chords on the bridge. This is a thumbed gypsy style G6 chord. Pinky on the either to a D, 7. This is just a diminished chord shape, plain old bar chord, plain old bar chord. The same diminished shape from down below, but up here on the 9th fret. This is an E. To an A minor. It's a horribly non-ergonomic chord shape to hit there, but it sounds lovely. And then we should also take a quick look at the picking in this next section. It goes like this. Make sure you can see my right hand here. The chord shapes are more or less the same, except for this C minor over G, which is a little bit of a stretch. Can't play that. You can also play it like this. You just need to make sure that that G string doesn't ring out because we don't want that in there. So this is. So I'm using these 3 fingers to pluck. C major. Now we're using all 3 of these fingers alternating. E7. Same A minor as before. Same E7. Up to A. Slightly different voicing of E7 here so we can continue to get this upward motion in the top voice. And then it does the same thing. We should take a quick look at this voicing of D7. This is a D7, na, 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 where the guitar does a harmony with the vocal part. Da, 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 to the 5th fret of the G string, and then we have 3, 5, 4. So there we are. Okay, in this portion of the video, we're going to dig into my thought process a little bit and kind of break it back down to ground level and build it back up to see how I got this arrangement where it is and why I made some of the choices that I did. I've gotten some questions along these lines before for numerous arrangements, and I feel like Parlez-Moi d'Amour is a good example and a good place to start with taking a look at how to make choices and things like this. So I guess the first question is, why did I choose this song? It's something that I had been listening, that had been in my ears for several years. For his many foibles and issues, Woody Allen knows how to score a film and is an excellent jazz musician in his own right, actually. But I first encountered this film in Midnight in Paris, the 2011 movie starring Owen Wilson, which has an outstanding soundtrack and has a particularly doleful rendition of the song performed on solo accordion. And that melody was kind of in my ear, and then several years later a family friend gave me like a 40-song compilation of like French musettes and things like that recorded in the 20s through 40s. And the original Lucien Boyer recording was one of the ones that was on there. I will link to the recording that I learned this from in the description. It's poor fidelity audio, and it's just got this sort of tinkly piano and her lovely voice singing this song with lyrics that are, on the face of it, I think just a love song, but have a real layer of sadness to them and longing. It's like the singer is sort of begging her loved one to say I love you, which is a very sad position to find yourself in. As I was approaching this tune, I decided I wanted to have a crack at it when I was going to be traveling to France, which I got to do this past year, and I knew that I wanted to record something French while I was over there. So I decided to start working on this one, and initially it seemed like it was going to work very well for guitar because I found this pretty little arpeggiated figure with the melody in the top there, which is very similar to the Lucien Boyer recording. That was where I stole that directly from. And things sort of got more complicated from that point, but I thought that sat really nicely on guitar. It was just like a lovely way to start the tune off. I chose this key in this tuning, down a half step, which you probably figured out by this point, just because it suits my voice, and I'm very comfortable arranging in the key of G because I know the key of G very well on the neck, coming from the bluegrass tradition. So once I got past this little introductory moment, I knew that the phrase repeated with a slightly different ending, and I thought to myself, well, should I just play this again? I mean, I could. It doesn't really develop very much. So instead, I thought it would be nice, since this is a very pianistic tune, I think, in the way that it's written, to try and keep approaching it like a pianist, with this sort of like right hand, left hand sound. And what would be the pianist's right hand is me going, keeping the melody going just as it was. But then the pianist's left hand is this sort of arpeggiated, burbling bass line. I was going for a sort of like Schubert-esque feel of the melody and accompaniment here. And so we've got this nice counter melody. Which, then kind of goes to this sort of free time Debussy-esque C major 6 thing. Continuing on the theme of two voices here, we go to this first inversion D dominant chord. But then I thought, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have this note resolve down in a way that's more dramatic and romantic than just going bum bum bum. So instead it goes dum bum bum bum, while we've got this motion. And with the inner voices. So there's the intro, and that's kind of where that was coming from. And then, from then on, my choices were guided by a combination of listening to recordings, a variety of recordings of this tune, and seeing what I thought was successful in sort of furthering the emotional delivery of the song. I stole a couple of harmonization ideas, including this, the minor 4 chord with the root and the bass. I don't remember whose rendition I stole that from, but I love it. It's just do, 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 do. I mean, it just doesn't get any goddamn sadder than that. And then alternating with do, 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 to just let a little bit of a ray of hope shine through there. But so yeah. This is very straightforward and reflective of the introduction. And then this is one of my favorite voicings on guitar, which is why I had to throw this in, because it's so much sadder than a regular A minor. And then we get this lovely E7 voicing. You want things to try and move in a linear way. I mean, there are years of theory that can be taken to studying this kind of idea, but I tried to keep the voice leading as common practice period friendly as possible, except for when I deliberately wanted it to be very romantic and angsty in a way that common practice voice leading would not allow. I mean, I'm not over here making sure I have no parallel fifths and et cetera, but it is a good sort of guiding light for thinking in terms of having every note in any chord being part of its own melodic idea. And trying to treat it that way. I'm trying to really think like a pianist here, basically. So when we've got this voice happening, and then it resolves back. So then the second way that I like to phrase the chord accompaniment in the chorus part of the song is with this just because it's very I don't know. I'm overusing the word melodramatic, but yeah, there's a lot of melodrama in this song. I mean, it's the song of a young, of a young insecure lover, basically, and I'm trying to capture the way that feels, and have the guitar express that. And so there's such an urgency to this, and trying to let every phrase whereas the first time around, this top voicing guitar from it grows when we're in this really like melodramatic part that's so it's yeah. So it gets to this even sort of higher height of angst before finally being relieved. Although for the dominant chord, we're still using a very angsty sort of thing there. And then just a little moment of harmony between the guitar and the voice, which resolves. So even in this 5-1, I wanted something which came back really nicely to this. So this is my voicing. That's a very Bach-approved resolution. And it's also very sort of romantic era music to have a 5 chord with the root in the bass at the end of a phrase. And then for the very end of the tune, we go from the minor. We go from a major plagal to a minor plagal cadence there. I think that the original version, the Lucien Boyer version, is much more cheery, at least outwardly, but I don't know that it necessarily needs to be so. I did try and retain a little bit of that and use a little bit of sort of pan-French idea sampling on the verse of the song, during which I did this. This whole thing, because I didn't want it to just be a whole downer the entire time, so I just threw some gypsy jazz style chords in here with a nice little swing. And now, this is an important moment because even though we're moving to this little waltz feel, I still wanted to keep some of the harmonic drama there. And in the original version, for this entire section, it stays on a 1/5 vamp. Bum ba ba da bum ba ba da bum ba da 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 dum ba da da bum ba da 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 ba da 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 da. I mean, it's literally just 5-1 5-1 5-1 1-5 1-5 1-5. And I wanted to use what one of my theory teachers called slippery, fully diminished sevenths to walk us to different sort of tonal centers momentarily while we're in this section to keep it angsty and keep it dramatic. So we start out as the original recording does with G and D7, and just as we're getting comfortable, we're going to not go to a D7, but instead a D sharp diminished. That kind of functions like a 5 of 6. And indeed, here we are at the 6th chord. To a minor 4, which is so sad. But then we're back in happy land. But only briefly, because there's another diminished that we're going to use to tonicize an E major, which is a surprise. But that, in turn, is a dominant chord that takes us around to the A7 that comes here. And an A minor, because let's not forget we're trying to be sad and not just cute with our harmony. Da 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 D. And we're back. And then I basically just decided to kind of put a bow on the whole thing by repeating. Make it augmented. So yeah, that's pretty much it for how I came to that arrangement. I mean, obviously that was a pretty stream of consciousness description. I mean, more than anything, I was trying to kind of channel this like Schubert-like idea of having a song, you know, a love song that is accompanied by a solo instrument, wherein the instrument is doing its utmost to heighten the emotional impact of the song that the singer is singing. And there you have it. That's my arrangement of Parlez-Moi d'amour. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I will do my best to get to any and all questions that I can. Yep. Thanks for watching.